For example, I've seen you on TV a lot in the last couple of years. I know everything you know, or that you tell us, about the Russian situation. I don't have a clue what you think about healthcare. I've never heard it.
Yeah.
I don't know whether you're for Medicare for all, or improve Obamacare, or get a chicken. I don't know what.
Yeah.
How do we help you get this done? Not how do we put more obstacles in the way? I haven't forgotten about your roof. All of that is important to keeping.
And my pot store.
And what?
And the pot store, the Woods that I own with Woody Harrelson. It's the biggest problem we had was the government of California.
Bill Maher and Adam Schiff have clashed before, and honestly, those moments were never warm or friendly. Schiff stands for strong liberal politics, and Maher is the guy who likes to challenge that stuff right to your face. So when these two are in the same room, you know what's coming. Quiet tension, sharp jokes, and real friction. Hit subscribe, sit back, and let's get into it.
This statement from the administration: the president had the constitutional authority to direct the use of military force because he could reasonably determine that such use of force was in the national interest. That's too vague for you?
Totally vague.
Okay, because that's from Obama about Libya.
Maher didn't just challenge Schiff here, he set a trap. He reads a statement about Libya, then asks, is that too vague? Schiff quickly says, yes, completely vague. But Schiff missed the trick. Those words weren't from Trump, they were from Obama. And the moment Maher reveals it, Schiff freezes, because the double standard is now out in the open for everyone to see. And if you think that was bad, the next clip is even worse.
TV productions continue to move out of California due to tax incentives in other states. What might the future look for Los Angeles? Is there a risk of it becoming the next Detroit?
I don't agree with the diagnosis of why the film industry is leaving. They're leaving because they're getting richer incentives in other states and other countries. And we haven't kept pace with that. So if you want to film in the United Kingdom, you're going to get a tremendous tax break, and our motion picture industry has left the country. If you want to film in New York or Georgia, there are generous tax incentives. If we want to keep the industry here, we're going to have to compete with tax incentives. California has started to do that.
Wood isn't leaving California for fun. It's leaving because of money. And yes, taxes are a big part of it. Everyone in that industry complains about it. This is no secret. Sure, Georgia and the UK offer good deals, but the real issue is simple. California is way too expensive to film in. So expensive that even Europe starts looking like the cheaper option.
Every year, California loses people because they are being driven away by a high-tax, high-regulation state where public services don't reach the standards that they should. That should be a signal that we shouldn't have one favored industry or another. We should have a favored state. California to be competitive.
Here's the crazy part. Even before Maher fully jumps in, the criticism is already out there. California has been losing businesses and people for years. Why? High taxes, too many rules, and too much regulation. Maher has been saying this for a long time. So why does Schiff keep making it sound like it's only about incentives? Because that sounds better than admitting the state has a real problem.
About your roof, all of that is important to keeping.
And my pot store.
And what?
And the pot store, the Woods that I own with Woody Harrelson. It's the biggest problem we had was the government of California.
I imagine your producers are saying, oh God, I can't believe Schiff brought up his roof.
Yeah, I mean, we love it here. We want to live here. The West Coast has the sunshine and the girls all get so tan. I don't know how I can, but we just gotta make it fun.
5. Yes, California needs to become a friendly place again for businesses and for everyday people. And that starts at the top, with leaders like Gavin Newsom and allies like Adam Schiff. For years, people watched prices go up while politicians kept saying everything is fine. But clearly, it is not fine. Housing is out of control. Regular families cannot afford to live there. Taxes stay high, rules stay strict, and regulations make it hard to build, grow, or even run a business smoothly. Add expensive housing, high taxes, and heavy bureaucracy together, and people leave. Companies leave too. If California wants to keep good people and stay strong, it needs real change. Lower costs, smarter rules, and leaders who are willing to admit that the system is broken.
Panel agree with the UK's proposal to impose a social media curfew for kids. How realistic is it to enforce? One night suggesting I was going to open a place called Bill Maher's Catholic School. Let me finish. Because Catholic schools are popular now, even with people who aren't Catholic. It's the last place you can send your kid to get an old school education. And they just tell the kids, forget about the Jesus stuff. Just, to them, that's okay indoctrination, as opposed to some of the other indoctrination that goes on. And also, the Catholics don't put up with bullshit. They take your phone. You have to learn your P's and Q's and your grammar and all this kind of stuff. And that's what I just don't understand, that parents don't have the whip hand anymore. Not that you should actually use it.
Something most people overlook. The same group pushing reform also pushed phones and constant internet into classrooms. They promised it would improve learning. Instead, classrooms became full of distractions. Attention spans dropped, focus disappeared, real learning got weaker, and now the results are impossible to ignore. So Maher asks the obvious question: should the US follow the UK and ban kids from social media until a certain age?
TV show that has a teenager in it cannot be mischaracterizing this. And the kids they don't listen to their parents, they turn their back on them, they walk out of the room, things that would just get me shut down when I was a kid. And I think it starts with the phone.
It sounds like a simple question, but it carries a lot of weight because it forces people to take responsibility. And you can clearly see Schiff getting uncomfortable. Maher doesn't back off. He keeps pushing the same point. Schools are for learning, not for scrolling through phones all day. Discipline matters, focus matters, and the system is clearly broken.
The reason why Joe Biden is going to beat Donald Trump is because at the end of the day, America is going to want a president who is a decent human being. Who doesn't shit on other people, who has some interest in the American people, some interest in something beyond himself.
Now keep in mind, this was before the election. Schiff was confident that Democrats were going to win. He sounded certain. But watch what Maher does next. He slowly breaks down that confidence and exposes how out of touch that thinking really was.
The Atlantic put out an article last year, and it was called "Separating Sports by Sex Doesn't Make Sense." Right. And talked about how we separate sports like the WNBA just because it's just socialization. This is insane.
I agree.
Okay. That's why people vote for Trump. Mm-hmm. Because there's stuff like that on the left that people just go, I know Trump's horrible, but separating sports by sex makes perfect sense. Mm-hmm. And if you think it doesn't, you can't leave the country.
That's cutting off your nose to spite your face.
Okay. I'm just giving you the answer to the question you're asking all night long. Why do they vote for Donald Trump? It's not always because they like him. No, it's because stuff like that is kookier.
Here's the crazy part. Maher was basically right. While the left was celebrating early, Maher saw something different. Voters were getting tired, and when you ignore that frustration, you pay the price. A lot of Americans felt worn out by political extremes. They felt like common sense was being replaced by culture war nonsense. Some voters didn't even like Trump. They just thought the other side looked more extreme and more out of touch. Maher's point is simple. If people feel ignored, they show it when they vote. Then Maher pushes Schiff to do what most politicians avoid. Step outside the comfort zone. Go on Fox News. Schiff looks hesitant because it feels safer on MSNBC or CNN. Those interviews are easier, the questions are softer, and the pushback is almost nothing. Maher's message is clear. If you believe your ideas are strong, defend them anywhere. That is the real test.
For example, I've seen you on TV a lot in the last couple of years. I know everything you know, or that you tell us, about the Russian situation. I don't have a clue what you think about healthcare. I've never heard it. Yeah. I don't know whether you're for Medicare for all, or improve Obamacare, or get a chicken. I don't know what. Yeah. Yeah. Well, I don't know what.
Here's what I was telling my colleagues, and particularly these wonderful candidates we had running in the midterms. Don't talk about Russia. You're not going to persuade people to vote Democrat or Republican based on Russia.
But what about Trump?
Now, I get asked about it because our investigation for the last 2 years was the only investigation into what Russia did.
Right.
And people ask me about it. But what I urge the candidates and what I urge our nominees to talk about is, how are you going to help American people put bread on the table? How are you going to help them provide for a secure retirement in an environment which people don't stay in the same job their whole life, in a job with globalization and automation? How do people get health care? How do they keep health care when they go from job to job? How do we help young people afford college? Those are the things we need to be talking about. We are in the midst of two revolutions right now, either one of which would be phenomenally disruptive. The two put together are just producing this cataclysm of xenophobic populism around the world. And it's the revolution in the global economy through globalization and automation, when millions are losing their jobs through no fault of their own. And it's the revolution in communication, which is every bit as significant as the invention of the printing press, but it happened overnight, where lies travel faster than truths, where hate goes viral, and you put those two things together and it is a combustible mix. And addressing those challenges, talking about how in this environment we're going to put people to work, we're going to deal with this yawning gap between rich and poor. We're going to make sure that whether you have one job in the morning and you drive an Uber at night, that you have health care at the end of the day and a retirement at the end of your career. That's, I think, what we need to be talking about.
And I'll let you go, but I see you going on Fox News.
Well, I had some good encouragement from someone very close
Everybody's
to you.
going on Fox News now.
But Schiff does what politicians always do. He dodges the question. Maher asks something simple. What is your message? Not that Trump is bad, not the usual talking points. What is the actual message? Because that is the real problem. For years, so much of the party strategy has been built around one person, Trump. But hating Trump is not a plan. Voters eventually want real answers. What are you offering? What direction are you heading? Why should people trust you? If you cannot answer that clearly and directly, people stop listening.
Virginia Governor-elect Abigail Spanberger, who before the 24 election said things like, if the party didn't shift to the center, we will get fucking torn apart. And we need to never use the word socialist or socialism ever again. At least the party has a clear choice here, very clear. One wing is saying don't ever use the word socialist again, and one is saying,
I am a democratic socialist.
Then Maher turns to the newest trend inside the party, socialism. Socialist labels, socialist ideas. And he is not confused for no reason. Why would Democrats move towards socialism when they know it pushes away moderate voters? This is not just about beliefs. It is about strategy. History shows that the word socialism triggers a strong reaction. Independent voters hear it and pull back. Swing voters hear it and get nervous. Maher is not saying every idea is wrong. He is saying think about the real-world consequences. So the question is simple. If this label is so risky, why are leaders rushing toward it anyway?
so how do we decide who's right? Well, it turns out we don't really have to flip a coin. We have the evidence. In 2024, 13 Democrats won in districts Trump also won, all moderates. This isn't rocket science. All the left-leaning think tanks have done autopsies on 2024, and they all came up with the same message: move to the center. Even the New York Times, which did so much to promote woke politics, now says the partisans are wrong. Moving to the center is the way to win. And Democrats should recognize the party moved too far left on social issues after Obama left office.
At the end of it all, Maher's main message lands like a hammer. Not a joke, not a gotcha moment, but a warning. He believes Democrats, especially voices like Schiff, too often choose comfort over honesty. They lean on safe talking points and hope the audience figures out the rest. And Maher keeps coming back to the same pressure point. When the story is convenient, but the facts are messy, people notice. So he starts pulling at the threads. Contradictions, double standards, strategies that sound smart in a TV studio, but fall apart in the real world. From that Obama versus Trump moment where the moral math suddenly gets complicated, to California where taxes, regulations, and the cost of everyday life stop being just policy and start being real pain. To kids glued to phones, lost in algorithms, and raised more by screens screens than by adults, to a party playing with labels and slogans that scare away swing voters before the first sentence even ends. And every time the conversation tries to escape, Maher pulls it back. Because the problem is not that Democrats have no values. The problem is that they sometimes sell those values with denial, with language that is too polished, with answers that are too rehearsed, and with media environments that clap instead of challenge. Maher keeps pushing the same idea. Stop hiding behind friendly rooms and safe stories. Stop treating tough questions like personal attacks. Stop acting like voters are required to agree. Because voters are tired of unclear messaging, tired of political games, tired of hearing "trust us" when the results never match the promise, and tired, especially tired, of leaders who answer simple questions with complicated speeches. You do not have to like Maher to understand what he is pointing at. Ignore it and you lose the middle. Face it, and you might actually win the argument that matters. And that is where we will end it. If you enjoyed this breakdown, hit like and subscribe for more videos like this. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next one.